"Sir, my son's hungry. Can we stay a while?" Her voice cracked through the quiet diner like thunder through still air. He looked up mid-bite. A fork frozen halfway to his mouth. The woman stood trembling, her boy clutching her coat sleeve. No one else moved. In that single moment, one man's loneliness collided with a mother's desperation and changed both their lives forever. Marcus sat alone in the farthest booth of Eddie's diner, the kind of place that smelled like fried onions, spilled coffee, and memories. It was Thanksgiving night, but the only thing festive about it was the neon sign flickering outside that read, "Open 24 hours." A single plate sat before him: turkey, mashed potatoes, and a roll he hadn't touched. The waitress had offered him pumpkin pie on the house. He declined. Marcus was a man who used to smile easily. Used to. Now, his laughter existed only in photographs, frozen beside the face of his late son, Elijah. 3 years had passed since the accident, but time hadn't softened the ache. He ate alone because that was the only thing he still knew how to do. Outside, snow began to fall. Soft, slow, and uncaring. The bell above the diner door jingled, weak and uncertain. A woman entered, her coat threadbare, her hair tangled from wind. Beside her, a little boy clung to her hand. His shoes were too small and his eyes too big. They stood at the door like they didn't belong there. The waitress glanced up from behind the counter, frowning slightly. "Kitchen's closing soon," she said. The woman hesitated, her lips trembling. She wasn't asking for pity. She was fighting it. Then her voice broke through the silence. "Sir, my son's hungry. Can we stay a while?" It wasn't a plea. It was a quiet surrender. Marcus looked up, and in that instant, everything inside him cracked. He didn't think, didn't hesitate. He just gestured to the booth across from him. "Sit down," he said. "You're already home." The woman blinked, unsure if she'd heard right. "We don't have any money," she whispered. "Didn't ask for any," he said softly. "Everyone deserves to eat warm once in a while." The boy slid into the booth like a scared animal, eyes darting to the plate in front of Marcus. Marcus caught the look, smiled, and pushed it toward him. "Go ahead," he said. "I wasn't that hungry anyway." The boy hesitated, then took a bite, and in that bite, Marcus saw something sacred. He saw his son again. Her name was Janelle, and life had not been kind to her. She had lost her husband to illness 2 years ago. Since then, it had been just her and Malik, her son. Jobs came and went like the seasons. Rent piled up like snowdrifts. Tonight, she'd spent her last few dollars on bus fare. She wasn't supposed to end up here. Hungry, cold, asking strangers for mercy, but mothers don't get to quit. Marcus listened silently as she spoke, every word landing like a stone in his chest. Finally, she asked, "You're alone tonight?" He nodded. "I used to have a little boy, too." Her eyes softened. "What was his name?" "Elijah," he said, the name catching in his throat like glass. Janelle didn't speak again. She just reached across the table and gently took his hand. That touch, the first kind one he'd felt in years, broke him. Malik finished eating, then wiped his mouth with his sleeve. He looked at Marcus shyly. "You're strong," he said. "Like my dad," Marcus smiled faintly. "Your dad must have been a good man." "He was," Malik said proudly. "He used to say, 'A man's strength isn't in his muscles, it's in his kindness.'" Marcus's eyes glistened. "Smart man," Malik tilted his head. "You miss your kid, don't you?" That question pierced deeper than anything. Marcus nodded, whispering, "Every day." Malik smiled softly. "Then you can borrow me for tonight." And just like that, a stranger's child healed a broken father's heart. Marcus called the waitress over and ordered 2 slices of pie. "Apple or pumpkin?" she asked. He looked at Malik. "Apple," the boy said instantly. Grinning, they ate together, slowly, peacefully. For the first time in years, Marcus laughed. It wasn't loud. But it was real, and in that small, glowing diner, surrounded by the hum of the heater and the clink of plates, something beautiful happened. A broken man, a struggling mother, and a hungry boy became a family, just for one night. When they stood to leave, Janelle tried to hand him a few crumpled dollars. He shook his head firmly. "No, you keep that." "Please," she said, "you've done enough." He smiled. "You gave me company. That's worth more than you think." Janelle's eyes filled with tears. "I don't know how to thank you." "You already did," he said. As she turned to go, Malik ran back and hugged Marcus tightly. "Good night, Mr. Marcus," he said. "Next Thanksgiving, can we eat with you again?" Marcus knelt down, his eyes wet. "Any time, kid. My table's always open." When they left, Marcus sat back down. The table was empty, but for the first time in years, his heart wasn't. He looked out the window. Snow still fell, but now it didn't feel cold. He whispered a prayer, not for himself, but for them, and as he finished his coffee, he realized something profound. Sometimes God doesn't send angels with wings. Sometimes He sends them with hungry hearts and small hands that remind you how to live again. Marcus walked into that diner to fill his stomach, but he left with something much greater. Hope, family, purpose. Never know whose quiet pain sits beside us, or how far one small act of compassion can travel. So if you see someone tonight who looks like they've given up, smile. Offer a seat. Offer warmth, because sometimes the kindest tables are set by strangers. If this story touched your heart, tell us where you're watching from. And if you still believe kindness can change the world, share this video because somewhere out there, another Marcus is waiting for someone to say, "My son's hungry." Can we stay a while?